What's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss AHS 1984, American Horror Story Season 9, 1984. The premise starts in 1984 and ends in 2019. I have a major issue with this season, and I have notes. Always come prepared. It's my curse for knowing everything. But we're going to talk about why this season was actually really awesome up until the very last 20 minutes of the finale. I'm aware that they trimmed it from 10 original episodes ordered to 9, so this is the shortest season we ever got. But it was awesome. We had majority of our main actors back. I don't want to butcher anyone's names nor try to remember everyone's names because it's late, to be honest. But I love everyone involved. I love the new characters brought in. I love the new actors and actresses brought in. I'm so pumped that Gus Kenworthy, I will gladly say his name, was a part of this. Because Gus is awesome. And to see Gus act, he's Gus. He can do no wrong. He's Gus. He's a Kenworthy of a guy. So, we start out with Emma Roberts' character, Billy Lord's character, Gus Kenworthy's character. We have... I'll try to remember people's names. Yeah, so there's this aerobics thing going on. I don't know how to start this, like, the story of Camp Redwood. So these four these four 20-year-olds in Los Angeles decide to, become camp counselors at Camp Redwood. So they go to Camp Redwood. Emma Roberts' character is being haunted by the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. We first see Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, who is an actual human, but fictionalized in 2015's Hotel, American Horror Story Hotel. So he is a serial killer who's invited to the Devil's Night, which is every October 30th, at the Hotel Cortez, hosted by Edward Munch himself, for his serial killer friends, etc. Right? Okay. And we know that... I'm going to pause on that because that's where my issues take place. That's what my notes are for. And I have quotes and times. I have receipts, people. So, they get to Camp Redwood. Camp Redwood was known for a massacre that took place in the 70s. This serial killer named Mr. Jingles, was one of the, handymen there. But he was a Vietnam War vet with PTSD and, killed people and cut off their ears and things of that nature, right? But he left one final girl alive, Margaret Bluth. And so he was committed for a long time. Flash forward to 1984. There's this one woman, Donna, who takes the name of a different person, who is a psychologist because her father was a serial killer that she found out, and she knows that the evil's inside her because the evil is inside him, and she wants to suppress it. So she's studying Mr. Jingles, and breaks him out of the mental ward, to bring him back as a lab rat, basically. So she pretends she's a nurse, and he goes on his killing spree again, kills some of the camp counselors, and the cook, Gertie, and then eventually it's revealed that Margaret Booth, who is the survivor of the 70s massacre, who is now running the camp in 1984, is the one who actually killed all those people in the 70s, but she pinned it on Jingles, and then he was electrocuted and shock therapy and all this other drug therapy and stuff, so everyone believed that Jingles was the murderer in the 70s, right? Okay, but it turns out that once that's all revealed, and, once he comes back in, 89 or something like that, he finds out, he comes to terms with that it wasn't the first time that there was a murder, that there was a death at the camp. So the very first death at the camp was in the 40s when Jingles, who, what's his real name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. His brother's Bobby. Benji and Bobby. His mother was the cook at that time, Lily Rabb's character. And Bobby gets killed by a boat motor in the lake, and then there's this terrible curse that, goes over the whole lands of Camp Redwood, and anyone who dies there or gets murdered there cannot leave. Their ghosts are trapped there. Billy Lord's character of Montana is perfect. Matt Morrison is in there, hilarious. A lot of other people come back, etc. So we get these backstories. These ghosts are trapped. We have a murder in the 40s. We have murders in the 70s. We have murders in the 80s. Then we have this horror fest kind of a thing, a Halloween rock night that Margaret Booth is trying to spin as like a deathcapade kind of a thing. So that way more people die and more people spend money to go there and spend nights and et cetera, et cetera. But then she's eventually killed at the park. Yeah, because it's Jurassic Park. At the camp. And yeah, so she's stuck there. So then we flash forward to 2019 after Emma Roberts' character, Angelica, I forgot her name. I forgot her last name. She's in a bunch of stuff right now. She's like all over the place. She's in Pose. She's an activist. I can't remember her last name. I apologize. Angelica, you're a fantastic actress. So it's a matter of who's the final girl. Is it Emma Roberts' character going to be the final girl? Is it Donna's character is going to be the final girl? Angelica's character of Donna, after she helps Emma escape her execution, because it was all the murders were then the murders in the 80s were pinned on Emma Roberts' character, even though again it was Margaret Booth doing all of these killings. So then they become friends, and then they wind up trying to kill a journalist or something to that extent. There's a lot that happens in these 9 episodes. A lot happens in these 9 episodes. And then in 2019, Jingle's son Bobby comes back to see what his father was. But Finn, or main boy Finn, we are first introduced to Finn in season 4. He plays Dandy, the crazy serial killer of him, spoiled brat that he is, Dandy Mott. So Finn is also in season 5. He's in season 6. We love Finn. Finn is awesome. And of course I would have loved to have more Finn. We had Dylan McDermott for like 2 episodes, 3 episodes, something like that. But Finn is awesome. And he played an awesome character for the 1 episode that he got of Bobby, Jingle's son, trying to go back to the Camp Redwood to find out what happened to his dad, get the full story. Eventually he meets Donna, and then eventually they find Emma Roberts' character, escaping death yet again. But my issue with this season, and again, this was an awesome season. The pop culture references were on point. The costuming was great. Acting was great. A lot of blood. Really good gore this year. The soundtrack was great. Is the Richard Ramirez character. The guy who plays Richard Ramirez is an amazing actor, and I'm so glad that this is his like main breakout kind of role, kind of a thing. Awesome. He plays that as a moody millennial to a T. Awesome. And the Richard Ramirez character taking place in the 84-85 mantra of Richard Ramirez's timeline makes sense. And it's great. Having him as the Night Stalker, bringing him into the plot points, having the connection to Montana from the past. So, if Ramirez makes a deal with the devil and originally dies in 84 at Camp Redwood, but keeps coming back, right? And then he goes on a killing spree with Jingles afterwards, but he winds up just wanting to kill everybody himself and whatever. So then he eventually gets back to the camp, but they keep killing him. In 89, he is finally killed at the camp, but all the ghosts take turns re-killing him for the last 30 years, right? To keep up the torture. And in 2019 is when Finn's character of Bobby comes to see what happens with his dad, and then Ramirez's goal is to make sure Bobby dies, and then there's a little battle, but the last thing we see of Richard Ramirez is being killed again by the ghosts at the border of Redwood, where Bobby is then escaping to talk to Donna, who's the head of some mental ward, something like that. But, and here are my notes, because we have our receipts, right? This was a big issue. It always goes back to the Hotel Cortez, Devil's Night, October 30th, 2022, right? Last year, when we had American Horror Story Apocalypse, we get a glimpse of a laptop showing that the apocalypse was 18 months later, in October 2021. And that means 18 months ago was like, what, 2019? Right? Something like that's when the apocalypse started. So how the hell did Sarah Paulson's character of Billy Dean, the psychic, get to Devil's Night at the Hotel Cortez in Los Angeles on October 30th, 2022? We then find out it's later explained that, whose character was it? Farmiga. what's her name? Teza Farmiga. Teza Farmiga's character goes back in time, changes things, and the Hotel Cortez exists, and the ghosts still exist, and the Devil's Night, October 30th, 2022, is still in effect because the timeline changed. So seasons 1 through 8 make sense, right? Here are my notes. Okay, Devil's Night in 2015. Richard Ramirez died in 2013, right? This is an actual fact. Google it. And we have the main character of John saying this as Edward Munch has invited him to his Devil Night. He says, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, you just died of cancer in your cell a few years back. A few years back meaning 2013. That was Season 5, Episode 4, Devil's Night, at the 32-minute, 17-second mark. Look it up. Look it up right now. Okay? 1. 2. At the Season 5, Episode 12, Be Our Guest episode, Devil's Night, October 30th, 2022. It says it right on the screen at the 32-minute, 13-second mark. Look it up right now. Go on Hulu. Check it out right now, this very second. These are the notes. These are the facts. So, if Richard Ramirez, who died in 2013, and we know this because it's literally stated, Richard Ramirez, you just died of cancer a few years back, and Hotel Cortez takes place in 2015. If Billy Dean, the medium, goes to the Hotel Cortez for Devil's Night to talk to John and all the other spirits, right? On October 30th, 2022, and we know that it's the same timeline because the timeline changed. How in the hell is Richard Ramirez still being killed repeatedly at Camp Redwood in 2019? What timeline are we on? What timeline did AHS 1984 take place? Was it the timeline before everything changed? Was it an alt timeline because everything changed? All the pop culture references are there, but if you're using Richard Ramirez as a main character, and we know specific death dates, and we know that he's still around spirit-wise in 2022, how is that happening in 2019? How are the ghosts from all the decades of killing still killing him for 30 consecutive years, from 1989 to 2019? How? What timeline are we in? I need to know. I need answers. Ryan does an amazing job with this series. I give him so much credit for storytelling, and I'm aware that he lost an episode. But when you use someone as a main character, and I had this issue with oh my god, I'm losing my mind. Jeff Davis, is that his name? The creator of Teen Wolf on MTV. And I feel like we talked about this a few times. You have Danny Mahialani, right? Keanu Kahuanawe is the actor. At the very season 3 finale, he is literally sitting on the stairs with Ethan saying, dude, you're a werewolf. It's Beacon Hills. Like, I know, right? And then he vanishes, disappears. And then 3 seasons later, Ethan winds up dating Colton Haynes' character of Jackson. But Jackson and Danny were best friends. So the only way that Ethan ever knew that Jackson existed was because of Danny. But not once was Danny mentioned in season 4, 5, or 6. Or did we get any reference of him? Where the hell was he? What has he done? Where did he go? Is he alive? Is he dead? Nothing. Okay? My problem with these types of stories is you create such dynamic storytelling. You have so many details, detail-centric plot lines that you need to pay attention to. These are not the types of shows where you can just, like SpongeBob, you just put it on and you just laugh and enjoy the plot for the 13-minute episode that it is, right? And then you can watch something 2 months later and then be perfectly fine. These are not these types of shows. This is a scripted, continual series, right? There's time jumps, I get it. But this is a problem because there is not a single timeline referenced within this particular Richard Ramirez plot hole. And that's what I'm going to call it. The RR plot hole. The RRPH. The riff, if you will. Oh my Garland. It makes perfect sense. Riff. RRPH. Riff, because PH is a F sound, right? The riff. I need answers. Okay? Ryan is an amazing artist, right? Ryan and Brad do a fantastic job. Okay. I just need to know what, why, or how, or will this be explained at some point? I need canonically proven evidence. I need canon evidence. I need a canon story. I just need a tweet from Ryan himself telling me why Richard is dying in Camp Redwood in 2019 if he has been dead since 2013 because he died of cancer in his cell. And we know this because John says it. I hate being right. It's my curse. I hate being so in tune to specific, minute detail that it actually matters. Otherwise, 1984 Horror Story was awesome. It was kick-ass. It was gnarly. Yeah. If anyone has answers or theories, please tell me. If anyone has a direct contact to Ryan or Brad, please let me know what they say to this. And what about Twitter? Is Twitter complaining right now? I feel like Twitter's complaining right now. I need to check the tweets because this is a big problem. Okay. Mucho mahalo.